Just want to take a closer look at what these changes could mean for the Eurozone's recovery overall. Jean-Michel Six is the chief European economist at ratings agency Standard & Poor's. He's also been a member of the Shadow Council of the European Central Bank since 2008. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Do appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
So just want to ask you about the significance, the wider implications of Jens Weidmann taking the helm at the Bundesbank and joining the policy committee as well. Just how tough is he likely to be on inflation?
Well, I think he has a tough act to follow because obviously Mr. Weber was the super hawk, if you want, in terms of inflation and inflation concerns. But I think on the other side, I think his credentials are excellent. I think he probably may also bring a slightly new perspective on monetary policies in Europe. I think the year ahead is going to be very challenging for the ECB. They're going to have to manage on one side the fight against inflation and at the same time consolidate the recovery, which is very fragile still, very weak. That's obviously very challenging. And so to have new people on board may actually turn out to be a plus.
But will it turn out to be a plus if they're going to be even more hawkish, even tougher on inflation risks than, say, than their predecessors?
I'm not sure they're going to be tougher on inflation or they're going to be more hawkish than their predecessors. First of all, to be more hawkish than Mr. Weber, frankly, is a little bit difficult. But more seriously, I think they're going to take, a fairly objective view. They need to maintain the credibility of the European Central Bank in terms of inflation. So far, I think the ECB, since the beginning of the crisis, has done an excellent job in terms of fighting against the headwinds that were confronting Europe. And I don't expect a major change in that sense.
But how much concern do you think there is going to be? How much are they going to, the new generation of policymakers, to what extent are they going to take into account the fact that raising rates too quickly could have a negative impact on the more vulnerable nations in the Eurozone, such as Portugal, such as Ireland, such as Greece?
Well, certainly that's a major threat on the periphery of the Eurozone. But at the same time, you need to recognize that interest rates in real terms, corrected for inflation, are still very negative at this point in time. We're talking of, at the moment, 1.25%. You just said before I was on that inflation at the moment is 2.8%. That's more than 100 basis points difference in terms of real interest rates. Even if we go to 175, which is my expectation by the end of the year, you are still talking about historically very low levels as far as interest rates are concerned. Certainly not good news for Spain, but I think the bigger concern is the strength of the euro, not so much the level of interest rates. The very strong currency that we are about to see in the coming months, in my opinion, is likely to be a bigger problem for Spain, Portugal, even Italy, as far as their competitiveness is concerned.
Yeah, it's going to make it harder for them to export, isn't it? You know, I'd love to get into that a little bit more with you, but we're going to leave it there for now. Jean-Michel Six, come on the show again. Great to talk to you.